just talk about the main differences here, the main things that really stood out for me in terms of the differences between the Type R and the WRX STi. Now, where I think the WRX STi shines, of course, is, well, there's a couple of things actually, to my surprise. First thing, of course, is that all-wheel drive. Yes, the all-wheel drive in the WRX STi makes a huge difference in terms of driving dynamics. Biggest difference makes, well, the two biggest differences that the all-wheel drive system makes is when you're launching, you could pretty much be really aggressive with the clutch and just kind of, you know, give it the beans and kind of be very aggressive with it, and it will just stick like crazy. You'll get a lot of power onto the four wheels, and it'll launch you to a pretty quick 0 to 60 time, under 5 seconds for sure. And that's pretty fun in a WRX STi. You gotta admit that at the very least. Even if you're not a Subaru lover, you gotta love that all-wheel drive. You gotta love the all-wheel drive system in the Subarus. They know how to make a good all-wheel drive system. I really like that all-wheel drive system in the STi. Well done, Subaru. The other thing, of course, and it may surprise you, is I actually prefer the way the steering feels in the STi. Now, I'm not saying that it's a better handling car, because it's not, but I think the steering feel is better because you still use the hydraulic power steering. Now, call me old school because, you know, I guess I am, but I do prefer a good hydraulic power steering over, say hello to a little cop over here. Hello, 5-0. Not doing anything crazy, just driving a Type R. Anyway, that's what I think about that. It just feels better to me anyway. With the hydraulic power steering, it just felt better. The steering wheel itself is a better steering wheel. I must say, I'm not a big fan of the leather the Honda used for the steering wheel in the Type R. It just makes your hand feel clammy after a while. Not a big fan of it. I really wish they went with the STI steering wheel. It's a little bit more going on. A little bit, you know, different textures and different things. I just like it better. I like the steering wheel in the WRX STi better. I also like that it uses a traditional analog gauge cluster. I'm not a big fan of this digital gauge cluster in the Type R. You know, it's, again, personal taste, personal feeling, but I guess I like the way it looks. I like the aesthetics of the analog gauges. It looks a lot better. It just does. That's what I feel about it, and you could of course think differently, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to think I'm crazy for saying that. And then what else does the STi have? It has a really cool wing. It's got nicely colored seats, but yeah, I don't really like the seats. So let's get on to where the Type R shines over the STi. First, since I was talking about the interior, the seats. Now, like I said, the STi seats look really cool. They don't look cooler than the Type R seats. These red Type R seats are incredible. They're amazing. They're the best. Let's not deny that. Love red seats with a white exterior. It just pretty much sold the car for me. Love the way it looks. And then the fabric this car uses is much, much better. It's a much more compliant, softer fabric. I don't think it'll last as long as the WRX STi seats, but it feels a lot better, which is, you know, at the moment more important. Let's talk about the mechanicals a little bit. I was talking about the turbo lag a little bit on the STi. The Type R really does not have that amount of turbo lag. It has a tiny bit. Let's see. Let me drop it a couple of gears. And again, it's the same day. I drove the STi today, in case you were wondering. I've been shooting videos all day. So let's see. I dropped it in fourth. Let go of the throttle. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of lag, and then it really goes. Nothing like the STi. The STi gives you probably a full second or two of lag before the turbo kicks in. This thing maybe gives you half a second before the turbo kicks in. It's still some lag, but it's much reduced over the STi turbo lag. And like I said, it's kind of exciting with the STi, but of course the Type R having no lag is better. Then you get to the power and power delivery and the urgency that the Type R feels versus the WRX STi. Man, what a difference! World of difference. World of difference. First, you got that turbo lag on the STi, and then as you're pushing it, it doesn't really feel like it's surging anymore. If you feel like you get pushed in the back of your seat as soon as the turbo spools up, and then the power kind of wanes as you go along on the rev range. You get none of that with the Type R. The Type R keeps pulling and pulling and pulling all the way to the end. Doesn't run out of breath. why I always keep saying that the Type R engine is a gem of an engine. Design engine in the STI just really can't compete with it. Subaru really needs to take some time, redesign the engine in the STI, make it better, make it nicer, make it more durable, make it more reliable. That's really what drew me away from the STI. I've actually always been a Subaru fan. I've always been a WRX fan. I was actually close to getting a WRX like 4 times in my life. Just never got around to do it for whatever reason, one reason or another. I just never did it. I finally have one. I have a Bugeye. I love it. But just the new STI compared to the Type R, it just doesn't make any sense. As I said, launching the Type R versus the STI, the Type R doesn't stand a chance in the launch department. This is why I say front-wheel drive does not make a good drag car. And I stand by that statement. Shades, Wades, if you're watching, and I know you are, put that comment down below saying that you disagree with me. The chassis setup and suspension setup in the Type R is also eons better. The fact that you have an adaptive suspension in the Type R really changes things up. So the Subaru is really good on the corners. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's actually really, really good. You know, it takes the corners really well. The turn in is amazing. You turn in really quickly, and it really holds on to the curves really well. You feel like you're a part of the car. It's a really good driver's car for sure. I love the hydraulic power steering in that car. It's such a good car to drive. It's very fun. Like I keep saying, both cars, you can't go wrong. If you want a fun, sporty car, you really can't go wrong with either of them. Now, where I see the Type R has the advantage is when it's time to kind of calm down a little bit. Time to calm down a little bit. No more craziness. I'd rather be in a Type R any day of the week, because in the Type R, things calm down. You can put it in comfort mode. I'm in comfort mode currently. I'm very comfortable. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. I'm extremely comfortable. It absorbs bumps really well. It's just such a better ride than an STI when you want things to calm down. The STI is very bouncy. It actually reminds me of my modified Honda Prelude. I think I said it in the video review of the STI. But it reminds me of my modified Honda Prelude with the coilovers. It just kind of bounces around and, you know, kind of jiggles you around and jars you around when you hit a bump and things like that. It's what you'd expect from a sports car, which is why the Type R is just so good. You don't expect the Type R to drive so well when you put it in comfort mode. It's just really nice, comfortable, no big deal, really great. Really can't complain at all about the Type R at all. And then when you wanted to go fast, the Type R also turns faster and drives better than the STI. There, I said it. It does. It's faster around corners. It's faster, you know, on the exit speed. Surprisingly, it is. I know all-wheel drive has a huge advantage, but the way this thing puts power down with the limited differentials, out of this world. You just you hammer the throttle in, the back end comes around a little bit with it. It's just amazing the way the Type R handles, and the chassis in this car is really what you're paying for. You're paying for the chassis and suspension setup, and I really can't recommend the Type R enough if you're a track day enthusiast because of that. So compared to the STI, the Type R has a better engine and a better chassis setup, and then when you want to go home and calm down, it's got that as well, and it's got a hatchback, which the STI hasn't had in a number of years now. If you want an STI, you gotta have a sedan. And well, some people might say the sedan does look better, and the STI, you know, some people could say that the STI looks better than the Type R. You know, I won't argue that. I think, you know, certain angles, I would say the STI does look better than the Type R. You can't beat the functionality of a hatch. I can easily throw 4 wheels and tires in the hatch, all the way in the back. Throw a cooler here full of drinks or whatever I need, throw my tool bag right next to it, and go to a track, enjoy myself, and drive myself home. In an STI, you'd have to drive on your track day tires. It's not the same. It's just not the same as the functionality of a Type R. And for that, I mean, the Type R is just insanely good. So if you were to ask me, which car do I prefer? Which car would I buy and why? Well, actually, I've already covered this in a previous video. And I actually have test driven a stock STI, a 2018 STI, back when I was test driving cars to buy. I was going to buy the Type R. It's always good to test drive other cars to see what's out there. And the main reason why I don't like the STI, I mean, it's just outdated. You know, the redesign for the STI was back in 2015 or 2016. It was just a chassis redesign. It was an interior, of course, got a little refresh as well. The engine's basically the same. They've improved it here and there, but really, you know, it's a 20-year-old design. And as much as I like to say that 20-year-old engines are so good, they just really aren't. They just aren't. They can't compete with the upcoming technologies that are out. You know, and you could improve them as you go along, of course, but it's nothing beats a freshly designed, you know, four-cylinder turbo engine. It just doesn't. You can't beat that. And I'm waiting for Subaru to come out with an STI hatch that can compete with the Type R. Maybe they're working on it. Maybe they're not. I hope they are. So yeah, I think the Type R again wins this comparison test. If you ask me for my recommendation, if you have 40 grand to spend, where to spend it? STI, Type R, get the Type R. You should be able to get the Type R a little bit cheaper than 40 grand as well. So that's the other thing. There's about a $4,000 price difference between the STI and the Type R. And that's a lot as well. That's a lot of money difference. Now I know of the dealer markups and all that stuff. I recommend you don't pay dealer markup. I paid $37,000 out the door for my Civic Type R. I'm pretty happy with that price, and you shouldn't pay any more than that. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. As usual, if you have any questions, put it down below. Contact me on Instagram, on Facebook. You can go ahead and follow me on those. I'll put links to those below as usual. If you have anything to send, if you want to send me anything, you can send me to my P.O. box. The information is down below as well, in case you missed it. I do open up fan mail, and I do feature them. I haven't had one in over 6 months now. No big deal, no worries. As long as you guys keep commenting and watching the videos, I'll keep making them. That's our deal. Alright guys, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. The car got airborne in there.